It's time! Ayo! Pokemon cards. As someone who is an avid Pokemon lover, I have a slight teensy bit of an obsession with collecting Pokemon cards.
Spinnerack.
No! 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 Ah! Yes! Ah! I got a hyper rare! Hyper rare Dragonite!
And
No! No! Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Whoa! Yes.
No! Stop! No! No! Are you kidding? What?
Wait! 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 Did I just pull a God Pack? Wait! Wait! Holy shit! Oh my god! I just pulled a God Pack! Now, I've only probably been collecting for a couple years now, but I have collected quite a lot of amazing cards, beautiful artwork, some even valuable as well too. Luckily, a lot of them have been pulled on my Twitch streams as well, so if you ever want to, not miss out on an epic pool, better go follow the Twitch channel. But one of the things I haven't done with any of my card collection yet is actually grade them. So that's what we're gonna do. Now you're probably asking yourself, why do people even grade cards? Like, what's the point of it? So there's a lot of reasons, but I want to say the two main ones are A, people grade them to bring up the value of their cards, but a lot of times people also just like sending their favorite cards as well, or cards that hold memories to them too. So where do you grade cards though? There are actually quite, as you can tell, a lot of different grading card places, and they're constantly growing more different professional grading card places as well too. But for this video's purpose, and since it's my first time officially even doing any of this, we are actually going to send it to two places. We're going to be sending it to both PSA and Beckett Grading, aka BGS. But yeah, so through this video, we're gonna have some little behind the scenes. We're gonna guess what the cards are, of course. I got to collab with my bestie Woody because he also had a lot of cards he wanted to send out for grading too. So we'll be both sending my cards and his cards, and we get to guess on the grades together. But we'll show you the process of what we did for just like packaging it up, sending it out, guessing what we think they're gonna come back graded as, and then of course show you guys the results, which if you guys are coming from my Twitch channel, you guys may have been lucky enough to see it live, but don't worry if you didn't, this video will cover that. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, but let us get started with the process of grading. So of course the first step into grading cards is trying to figure out which ones we want to send to grade. As you can tell, Woody and I have a bunch load of amazing cards that we want to send out, and goddamn, there's too many. God, they're so amazing. Well, anyways, so we're gonna start off with Woody's because he is going to send all of his to PSA, and so let's break down looking at his cards first. Alright, first up on the dock is, of course, this beautiful Dragonite V alt art from Evolving Skies. Now, Woody and I both have our own that we are sending out, so we're going to see who gets the better deal, better graded deal out of this, but we are both giving this card specifically 10s, so we'll see if we're right. Next up, we have this beautiful Flareon V alt art from the Japanese Eevee Heroes set. Before Evolving Skies had all those beautiful Eevee Evolution cards, it came first in Eevee Heroes. Woody doesn't think it's gonna get a good grade. He's thinking a 7. I'm giving it a 9. Speaking of Eevee Heroes, Woody as well pulled this beautiful Glaceon V alt art from Eevee Heroes, and honestly, I think it looks pretty gosh darn good. The centering, looks good. I don't see any scratches, no bumps. I am going to give it a 10. Woody's a little bit too scared to give it a 10 and gave it a 9, so we'll see who's right. Alright, now we're throwing it back to some way older sets, starting off with this Dark Raichu Reverse Holo from the Pokemon Legendary Collection set. It definitely has seen better days. It's got some creases in it, some, whitening and all that jazz. It's more for keepsake memories. We're giving that, I'm giving that a 3. Woody's giving that a 2. Along with this, set, we have a Dark War Turtle from the Legendary Collection set, a Reverse Holo. As well, it's not in the best condition, but probably a little bit better than the Dark Raichu. Or I'm gonna give it a 4. Woody's giving it a 3, but they're gonna look really cool in some awesome slabs. Woody has a lot of these amazing cards, and that don't stop there, as we are looking at a Hypno Holo from the Aquapolis set. And look at that beautiful little swirl in the bottom left corner too. This is also from the time that we were having the e-reader series, where you could actually scan these into your games. It's not as bad condition, so I'm giving it a 6. Woody's hopeful and giving it a 7. And let's look at the next one, which is a beautiful base set Venusaur with the shadow, of course. It's a shadowed Venusaur. Definitely it's got its own scratches and wear and tears, but it's still in pretty awesome condition. We both say that it's gonna get a 7, and that'd be pretty big for that. So, side note, as you can tell, we already have these cards prepped and ready to be easily graded by these graders, as we put it in a semi-hard case and also have a little tab to pull it out easily. Now, of course, we're bringing it back to the e-reader series with this beautiful Blossom Aquapolis Holo, and look at that a little swirl in the bottom left. Oh, it's so pretty. This one as well, I think doesn't it could be in worse condition, it could be in better condition, but both of us feel confident to give it a 7. So here's hoping this little cutie patootie comes back with that. Up next on Woody's haul, we've got a Mischievous Holo from the Neo Revelation set. This one, it got some scratches, a little bit of wear and tear, but I'm pretty confident. Both of us are actually pretty confident to say that it can come out as a 7. Just a little bit of nicks on the top, as you can see. The next one is actually also from Neo Revelation as well, and here we have this awesome Crobat Holo with the swirl there. It looks so good. As much as we would want it to get a good grade, it does have a pretty bad crease, and it's got a lot of whitening, as you guys can tell. I'm hoping for a 5 for Woody, but he's also thinking that it probably will come back as a 4. Now let's go back to those e-reader times and look at these 2 beautiful reverse holo Pokemon Expedition cards. The first one, of course, we have here is a Cloyster. Man, reverse holos are just not the same anymore, man. Now, yes, it does got a little bit of wear and tear, but I want to say it's gonna come out as a 7. Woody says it's gonna come out as a 5. But the next one is, like I said, also part of the Expedition set, is this beautiful Clefable reverse holo. Look at that shine, man. This one, we both agree, it definitely looks like in better condition than the Cloyster. I'm going to give this one an 8. Woody's giving it a 7, so it does have a little nick on the bottom, but I still think it can get a decent grade. But yeah, so we'll see. As you can tell by now, of course, not all these cards are perfect 10s, but there's something about having your old cards from your childhood put into some awesome slabs so they just stay that way forever. One example is this beautiful Porygon 2 that Woody has. It's got a little bit of a swirl on the side, but that artwork, the all the little pretty just like hollow artwork on there, oh, it isn't as good as the last previous cards we were just looking at, but I'm gonna give this a 6. Woody's giving it a 5. And on to the next one, which is a Japanese card, Rocket's Zapdos. And this one is such pretty artwork, speaking of artwork. The other one, of course, Microsoft kind of style artwork. This one, hand-drawn. Even has a swirl near that, the very bottom left, too. This one is a really cool card. I'm giving it an 8. Woody's giving it a 7. Even has the old backing for Japanese cards. It doesn't look bad at all. So I'm super hopeful, and hopefully we get a good grade for Woody. Now, the last Pokemon card that Woody is grading for himself is this Gyarados base set Shadowless card. Hollow, of course. You can kind of already tell there's definitely a lot of scratches on the surface. Beautiful artwork, but it's definitely got a lot of whitening. I'm hoping for a 5. Woody's pretty sure it's going to get a 4. But it's, once again, such beautiful artwork. Now, you guys heard me say last Pokemon card, but these places don't only grade Pokemon cards, as we are going to be sending one Yu-Gi-Oh card for Woody, a Dark Paladin from Yu-Gi-Oh's Magician's Force. It's one of his favorite cards that he's pulled back in the day. We're definitely not experts in judging and grading these Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It does look like it's definitely had some play, wear and tear. So we're both going to give it a 5, and we'll see what it gets. Okay, on to my cards, and we're going to start off with the cards that I'm going to be sending off to PSA, and the first one we have is this beautiful Growlithe Reverse Hollow from the Pokemon Sandstorm set, another e-reader series type of card. I believe it was the Fire Red Leaf Green time for this card, and it's so pretty, and it doesn't look terribly in bad condition. Don't see that much scratches. I do see a little bit dinks on the edges on the top, so a little bit of whitening on the top edges there. So both Woody and I think it's gonna get an 8, so we'll see how it comes out. Next card, we're bringing it back to a more newer set, and that is Evolving Skies, the Dragonite V alt art. Now, this is my card, as we saw and graded Woody's card earlier. We also think that this is pretty pristine. Looks, to us, it looked the same as Woody's card. So we are both going to give this a 10 as well, and we're going to see whose card comes out on top. So the next card is probably one of my favorites in my collection, which is a Light Arcanine from the Japanese set, Pokemon Japanese Darkness and to Light. Now, this, of course, later on comes out in the Neo Destiny set for the English set. Quite honestly, this card looks fantastic for how old it is. Don't really see much wear and tear on the back. There probably is some scratches on the foil, but I think it might get a solid 8. Woody thinks it's a 7. Here's hoping that we get a higher grade on it. I don't have many cards that survived my childhood and weren't royally destroyed being played with, but 2 cards that did survive are this Jirachi card from the Hidden Legends series. It's a hollow, and again, doesn't have much whitening in the back, probably some scratches in the hollow foil, but we're both confident to say that it'll get a 8. So, and the next card as well is also from my childhood. Look at that swirl alert! This Pidgeot holo is from the Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green series, and it is a little bit more worse than the Jirachi we just saw. As you can see, there was definitely whitening on the bottom end, but it's not terrible, so both Woody and I are hoping for a 7. Along with sending in the regular cards that we collect, I also love grabbing promo cards because there's only so many of them out in the world, including this Illustration Contest 2022 promo card set. We have a Bulbasaur, a Greninja, and an Arcanine, all drawn by just regular peeps who love Pokemon. The Bulbasaur and the Arcanine, we're both thinking that we'll get a 9, but the Greninja, I'm thinking we'll get an 8, while Woody thinks he'll still get a 9. With promo cards, they are of a different quality when printed out. They are also packaged differently as well, so it's kind of like you get what you get. So here's hoping that we get decent grades on them. The next promo card that I'm going to be sending in for grading is this special delivery Charizard from 2020. The only way people got this card was by filling out a survey and receiving a code to put into Pokemon Center. Now, this one isn't terribly too bad. It does have some nicks in the edges and stuff, so we're hoping it gets an 8. Now the next two cards were throwing it way back to the Pokemon Japanese Jungle set from 1997. Here we have first is the Jolteon Holo from that set. It doesn't look terribly too bad. It definitely has some scratches on its foiling. I mean, it is a pretty old card, so I'm hoping for a 7. Woody's hoping for an 8. And now the second card from the Japanese Jungle Set series that we're grading is this Holo Snorlax, and it does look a little bit worse than the Jolteon that we just saw. I'm hopeful that it can get us a 7, but Woody's guessing that it will get a 6. Bringing it back to a newer Japanese set, we have this beautiful Espeon Alt Art V from Eevee Heroes that I pulled way back in the day. Honestly, the backings of these Japanese cards are so pretty, but I do think that the front of the card is not entirely centered, so I'm hopeful we'll get a 9 still. Woody thinks it's gonna get an 8. Fingers crossed we get the higher grade. The next card is this beautiful Blaziken VMAX Alt Art that I pulled from the Chilling Reign set. Funny enough, I actually own 2 of these cards, and both cards are in fabulous condition, pristine may I say. So we are testing out by sending 1 to PSA, 1 to BGS, and hopeful that this will get a 10. Next card we have here is from the Japanese Crimson Haze set, and at the time of pulling this, it was the newest set that dropped in Japan. This is the special illustration rare Perrin card, and although it looks perfectly pristine and fantastic, both Woody and I are hoping for a 9. Up next is a card that is probably from one of my favorite Pokemon sets, Hidden Fates. It's this beautiful shiny Sylveon GX card. Now, this GX series does have this interesting border which makes it a little bit harder to tell on centering, but both Woody and I are pretty hopeful that it will get a 10 from PSA. Up next is a card from the Pokemon Evolutions set. This is a card that Kyle actually pulled back in the day. It is a Mega Charizard EX full art card, and my gosh, the artwork on this is so cool. But with how it engulfs the front of it, it is a little bit harder to tell whether it is fully centered or if there's any scratches. So I'm going to be hopeful, and so is Woody, that it will get a 9. Lastly, the last 3 cards that we are sending out to PSA to get graded are these 3 Holo Charizards from the Pokemon Celebration set. This set was celebrating 25 years of Pokemon, and all 3 of them border looks fantastic, centering looks fantastic, and we see no whitening, no chips or edges. With that type of foil, it's kind of hard to tell if there's anything really messed up on the surface, but we are both hoping that all three of them will come out with 10s. Now that was all the cards that we are sending to PSA, but as I said earlier in this video, we are also sending some to be graded by BGS. So let's look at those 10 right now. First card we have sending to BGS is this beautiful shiny Charizard VMAX card from Pokemon Shining Fates. Of course, as you can tell, it is shiny and beautiful, but this type of style of cards, with them engulfing the front like that, it is way more harder to tell if it is properly centered. The back itself looks perfectly centered, but can't guarantee on the front. Same thing with surfaces and scratches. But with BGS, they do have a 0.5 grading system, so I'm hopeful for it getting a 9.5. Woody is hopeful for a 10. For some reason, I have a lot of good luck with pulling some rare Charizard cards, and this is no exception, this being the hyper rare Charizard VMAX card from Champion's Path. This card, I am actually very hopeful for it to get a pristine 10 in BGS, as there are 3 levels to a graded 10 card. Woody also agrees, so here's hoping that we pull a pristine. The Sun and Moon series definitely had a lot of fun, pretty rainbow / hyper rare cards to try to collect, and one of them being this awesome chonkster of a card, Pikachu VMAX hyper rare. Just look at that chonkster. But I think when I first pulled this card, to me it looks a little bit off centered. I'm hopeful for a 9.5, but Woody's pretty sure I could get a basic 10 on it in BGS, so only time will tell. Next, we're bringing it back to the Chilling Reign set with this beautiful Alt Art Galarian Moltres V card. This was originally my chase card in that series. I mean, just look at this badass artwork. To me, the centering looks good. I don't see any whitening. I don't think I see any scratches. Again, there's a lot of art, a lot of stuff happening in the front. I'm hopeful for a 10. Woody's actually thinking I could get a 10 pristine, but I'm going with a basic 10. Speaking of Chilling Reign, remember when I said I had more than one of these cards? We have yet again another fantastic Blaziken VMAX alt art. And once again, I don't see any problems or issues with this. Centering looks fabulous. I mean, I don't see any issues on the surface on the front of the card. I don't see any whitening or edges or dents. I am super hopeful for this to get a 10 pristine, and Woody agrees as well. Now let's take it back to the Eevee Hero set with this beautiful Japanese Leafeon VMAX alt art. I believe this is the second biggest hit that I've pulled from this set. Now, I don't think it is close enough to a 10, but it is nowhere near a 9 from what I'm seeing with the centering. So I'm hopeful, and Woody is too, that it will get a 9.5. Your girl can't get rid of them Charizards in her life, so here we have another shiny Charizard EX from one of the newer sets, Paldean Fates. Funny enough, I pulled this on the first pack I ever opened from Paldean Fates. There's a lot of commotion going on in the front of this card, so it's very hard to tell if there's any issues in the surface, but everything else checks out, so we're both hopeful that we can get a basic 10 on this. Now, this next card I know is nowhere near going to get perfect, not even like a 9.5, but the value and love behind this card means a lot, and I want to put it on a cool slab. So this here is the Latios and Latias GX card from Pokemon Team Up. It's a Sun and Moon series card set, and this is actually a really valuable card currently if you get it in a in a pristine condition. But this card does have a little dent, and a pretty decent dent on the top. It's got some whitening, and it has it doesn't look completely centered as well. I'm hopeful for an 8.5. Woody's thinking an 8, but this was for our 4-year anniversary that Kyle got for both of us, and it represents our love. This second to last card is the last promo I am sending on out to get graded, and it is the Pikachu with the felt gray hat that was in collaboration with the Van Gogh Museum. And if anybody knows, this card was super hard to get. Woody thinks it is a 10 pristine, but I definitely don't think it's entirely centered. I'm hopeful for a 9.5. Last but certainly not least, since Woody's sending a Yu-Gi-Oh card, your girl is also sending a Yu-Gi-Oh card to get graded. And here we have the Blue Eyes White Dragon limited edition from the Yu-Gi-Oh 2002 Collector's Tin. Now, I know that grading from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh is entirely different, but from the little experience I have, it looks pretty centered. I don't think there's a lot of surface scratching. I'm hopeful for a 9.5, but Woody's guessing on an 8.5. We've made it to the end. Yippee! After carefully putting them in their proper sleeves and with their little tabs, of course, the last part is to make sure you package them all properly with as well any papers that are needed for the graders to send to both the grading facilities. Of course, how we put them together, we've kind of tried to compact them with rubber bands and cardboard, put a lot of packaging in there so they didn't move around in their boxes. Some I know with PSA they wanted certain labeling on the outside, and BGS not so much. Each facility has their own recommendations of which delivery service to use, whether it be FedEx or UPS. We actually ended up going with FedEx, so we can track it. And other than that, it becomes a waiting game. You eventually get a confirmation that your baby cards were received from the grading facilities, and then they take a couple weeks before you get them back. Hold up! As you can tell, this video is already incredibly long, so we're going to make this a two-parter series. So if you want to know what the results are for all those awesome cards that we went through, definitely subscribe, keep your notifications on. If the video is already out, hopefully it will be hovering somewhere here. If not, hopefully I'll be getting it to you out soon. But till then, definitely, follow socials, and go follow the Twitch as well too. But I will also see you guys in the next one. Bye!